Okay, and we're back. Joining us now is Gabe Ruediger. How's it going, Gabe?
What's going on, guys?
So, what are you up to tonight?
Well, I got done with my final training session, and now I'm taking care of errands.
Errands, nice.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
So, how'd you get your start in mixed martial arts?
Ooh, how did I get my start in mixed martial arts? Well, I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and started doing some kickboxing. I watched, I think, UFC 3 on pay-per-view, and then, they got very involved in MMA and wanted to start doing Jiu-Jitsu. And it just kind of scared me, to be honest, to get a chance to go in there with someone who had trained to beat me in a cage. This is, I think, 2002 was my first fight. So that was my first foray into this ridiculous sport.
Nice.
Yeah.
Before we continue with this interview, I just want to throw out that at the MMA Awards, Best Lifestyle Clothing went to Tap Out, and Coach of the Year went to Greg Jackson. Okay,
oh, wow.
So back to the interview. I love on your Twitter, man, your under your description it says, MMA fighter, hated by some, loved by less, sarcasm is my first language.
It's a fact, actually. I do speak sarcasm fluently.
Nice. Okay, so right now, where are you training, and how often do you train?
Right now I'm getting ready for a fight, so training has been, I amped up a lot. But I train at PKG. I train with Anthony Hardong at Dynamics for my stand-up, and then I train at SK Golden Boys for my wrestling.
Oh, nice.
And then Valley CrossFit for my strength and conditioning.
Good stuff.
Yeah, not bad.
So, we have Gabe on the show. We still have to ask at least one question about Ultimate Fighter 5. The experience overall.
The experience overall?
Yeah.
The experience overall was 5 years ago.
Right.
It was a horrible experience. I think being in the house, I don't think people understand how it messes with you psychologically. You have cameras on you the entire time. It's not a real format for fighting. That's not. Mm-hmm. It's a reality show.
Yeah.
People don't take that into consideration. There was two guys in the house that I know who had spent time in jail, and they both said they prefer jail over the house. That gives you some idea of what it's like. I've never been to jail, but I've been in the house, and the house is horrible.
Right. Okay, let's move from that. You recently had back surgery?
I did. In August, I had a discectomy.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I had a 12-millimeter herniation of my L5. And I've actually had a herniation since before I fought Joe Lozon. And it got to the point where I was unable to walk after trying every option that I could. Tried spinal decompression. I tried, massage therapy. Tried chiropractic. I tried PT. I tried yoga. Just inevitably got to the point where I couldn't do, literally walking a quarter of a block felt like I was going to die. So.
Wow. Now, did it happen, just over time, or was there a specific incident?
I honestly don't know if there was a specific incident. I know that prior to fighting Joe, it was at about 6 millimeters, 7 millimeters, which is apparently manageable. And then, I suspect it is over time because I went from 6 to 7 to 12. And I don't know if that happened in my fights or if that was something that would just happen over time. But all I know is, by the time I went into surgery, I was very, very happy to get it done. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to Bama USA, January 13th
Bama
in California.
USA.
Yeah.
That's right.
So January 13th.
Yep. So Bama presented a main event fight for me, and Southern California is my home turf. I've main evented a bunch of shows in the area, and Bama's a great organization. I've known Brett for years. I like working with good people, and Brett happens to fit in that category. I might give him a lot of shit, but in reality, he is a good person. You know, a lot of people were saying it maybe a bit premature, and that's possible. But I kind of, as I told Brett, like, I have to figure it out. You know, there's only one way of knowing if there's a problem or not, and that's
sure.
To get in there and to start training. And cause I slowly. The good thing is the surgery I had was very non-invasive, so I was back to training in about 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, doing light stuff, nothing serious, but like, you know, hitting pads and technically, just working on like standing techniques first. So, you know, I wanted it to get back into fighting, and I'm also realistic on the time frame that I have left. I mean, I'm 34. If I'm going to make a real push at things, I have to do it now. You know,
For sure.
I don't have the luxury of waiting a year out, because it'll be basically a year since I fought last time. So, you know, I think it's a good organization, a good timing, and it's going to be a catch weight at 150 because I have every intention of dropping to 45. So it's good.
Good stuff. Now, do you have a opponent yet, or will that come later?
You know what? Apparently, they were having a hard time getting people to fight me. I don't know why.
Right.
Cause I kind of suck, and, you know, figured to give people an opportunity to smash something they probably don't like. But apparently this former TFA champion, Jeff Martin, agreed to the fight.
Okay.
So as of right now, Jeff Martin is my opponent.
Okay. And that's on January 13th, right?
Yep, January 13th, Friday the 13th, at the Commerce Casino in beautiful Commerce, California.
Good stuff.
For Bama, USA.
Okay, and how many shows have they had? Do you know?
You know, I think they've had close to 12. They've.
Okay.
But the thing is they have a lot of amateur shows. I think they've had maybe 5 professional shows, and this is actually a pro-am. So I think the first portion of the card is an amateur, and then it immediately goes to the professional side.
Okay, and could this possibly lead to you fighting for Bama in the UK?
You know, we've actually talked to Bama UK, and that is a very realistic option. The only problem is, and this is when we talked to Bama UK, and they wanted me to fight. I got a call to fight at 55 and to fight at 70, and I'm dropping to 45, so it just wasn't realistic, you know?
Right.
If they pull me back at the weight class I want to fight, people don't. My last fight in the UFC, I cut 3 pounds to make 155 pounds.
Oh wow!
You know, yeah. I finally got my diet down packed. I finally got, you know, my strength and conditioning and what I need to do in order to get the weight off. I've got that all squared away. So, you know, 45 is the realistic division I can be in. I should be in.
For sure.
So, I would love to fight for Bama UK. They're a great organization, and the guys that I've talked to over there were very nice. But yeah, I think my name got thrown out there from Marquardt. And it's like, Marquardt's a huge 70-pounder, you know?
Right.
No, thank you. And then I think I had another offer to fight at 55, and it's like, I mean, you know, I could take some fights at 55, but the reality is, you know, 45 is my division. I mean, I'm undersized for 55 now.
Sure. Okay, so so far to this point, what would you say is the highlight of your career?
The highlight? Jeez.
Yeah.
You know, winning the WC title was obviously huge, and it was I was at a time where I wasn't ever thinking about winning titles in MMA. I would say that the day that I probably got called to fight in the UFC in 2006, because, I mean, up to that point, people don't understand that the UFC now you can watch it every week, and there's shows and there's replays. When I watched the UFC, the first time there was the pay-per-view, and then there wasn't anything for, years. And then when I got signed to the UFC, they were only having shows, I think, it was every 3 months. Or no, I think at that point I got into every month. But, before that it was every 3 months there was a UFC, and it was something very, very special. And to get signed to the UFC, I mean, when I was fighting the WC, the UFC didn't even have a lightweight division anymore,
Yeah, for sure.
So for me to get that opportunity to fight for them again was amazing. It was I wouldn't say it's dream come true, because when I first started doing MMA, it wasn't to attain that, because that wasn't attainable, one. And two, I started off MMA to test myself. I never, well, people don't understand that, like, the dark ages, there was no money involved. I mean, for my first fight, I made $250.
Right. Yeah.
I fought for the WEC title, and at the time was a very legitimate, legitimate title.
Sure.
For $500.
Holy shit,
and that's
man.
not 500 and 500. It was 250 and 250. So I come from a different. Even when I fought for the UFC, the minimum for your first fight in the UFC was 3-3.
Right. So
that kind of gives you an idea of how far it's come from that position. So for me, it was never. I mean, even when you're making 3-3, what is that? If you win your 3 fights in a year, that's like what, you're making $18,000.
Right.
So it was never. But the fact that I got an opportunity to fight in this organization it was really my first. I was in high school, and a good buddy of mine called me and was like, my dad just watched this thing on pay-per-view, this Mexican kid who was 120 pounds, beat all these 300-pound, like, monster wrestler, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out that 120-pound wrestler or Mexican was Royce Gracie.
Right.
And, so to be a part of that organization was very big for me.
That's cool, man. Okay.
Long-winded answer. Sorry.
Hey, no problem, man. It was awesome. Anyways, we ask this of all our interviews. Any street fight stories?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. I have an amazing amount of street fight stories, unfortunately. I don't know. Do you want a specific one? Do you want my very last one?
Yeah, your last one would be great.
Okay, because my last one, it's one of those things that it was so improbable, and again, maybe when I was younger, I wouldn't necessarily I wouldn't look for fights, but I certainly wouldn't walk away from them. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? But as I've gotten older, I've certainly let that go, and unless you've got $10,000 on you and you want to fight me for it, I don't want to fight you.
Oh, exactly. You're not going to fight.
I don't need to worry about that. No, exactly. I mean, if you want to call my mom a whore, and okay, maybe maybe she's a whore, and good for you, and let me walk on my own. But this is in 2008. I had just had my neck fused, so I was recovering from a neck fusion. I was probably about 5 months out of recovery, and my girlfriend and I at the time were driving, and these guys pulled up right next to us, and like are revving their engine. And we were at a stoplight, and they're driving like a Dodge Stratus or something, just a piece of shit car.
Right.
And I'm driving an Altima, so like, how much racing is really going to be involved? And I look at her, I go, do you know these guys? Like, I have no idea who these guys are. And the light turns green, and they start swerving into our lane and trying to like it looks like they're almost going to hit my car. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, I'm sorry for the radio. What the heck's going on here? So then immediately one of the guys throws a beer bottle at my car. So I pulled into a parking lot, and I get out of my car, and these two big tattooed guys get out of their car, and they're like, "What's up? You want to fight? You want to fight?" Like, they're obviously pissed drunk. And this is in San Diego, and the area we're in, it's a very Asian populated area, and like something like this to happen, it's just not, it's completely out of the ordinary.
Sure.
And so the first guy tries to charge me, and I kicked him in the chest, and he fell down. The other guy, like, squared up, but he had his hands down. So I threw 2 punches, kicked him in the leg, grabbed his head, like, smashed his face, and he fell into some bushes. The other guy, like, he tried to get up. I kicked him down again. As he's trying to get up, I kneed him in the face, just broke his nose all up. And afterwards, I said, both of them are bleeding. I mean, I really messed them both up. And at the time, my girlfriend at the time was, like she said, it was hilarious because it looked like I was sparring. I had a smile on my face the whole time. I couldn't believe to see what was even happening. But afterwards, the one guy, he's like, all right, dude, okay, bro, you won. It's cool. My boy, he just got out of jail. We were getting some drinks, and we decided we wanted to fight, and it's cool. You kicked our ass. And I was like, get in your car, man. This is ridiculous. And I called the cops, and hopefully they got arrested. But it was just one of those things where it was very fortunate they ran into me instead of someone else. You know what I mean? Because they were looking for a fight in Mirror Mesa, again, which is a very it's a very small Asian community, and they were probably looking to just pick a fight on someone they could beat up. You know?
Yeah.
Two grown guys. The one guy just got out of jail looking for a fight, and they just happened to run into me. And
That's right.
And actually, it's funny because do you know who Evan Showman is? He's a very, very, very gifted artist. He does all the portraits.
Okay, I haven't heard of him, but.
Okay, wow. Well, you should, because it's showmanart.com. Look at his stuff. Seriously, it's amazing. I mean, he does it all by hand. It's amazing. But he did a caricature of it, and at the time he put it on my MySpace, which is actually a good time frame. You know, it was he put the caricature on my MySpace about the whole incident. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome. Okay,
yeah,
so this is a question that I was talking to my buddy about probably a few weeks ago, and do you find that people want to fight you because you're a mixed martial artist, or do you think that it's
you know what?
That guy?
I honestly, excluding some isolated incidents, when I first, when I was in college and I was living in the Bay Area, no one knew what MMA was. Even if you tried to explain it to someone, they really UFC. There was a core group of people that understood it, but you know, now that there's an explosion of it, I haven't had one incident where someone has wanted to fight me expressly because of what I do and who I am, which is a good thing. You know, I mean, I've had guys come in the gym, and you know, they think that they're ready to be pro fighters, and then they ask to spar with me, and if you know, I've got an open policy. If you want to come, I never back down. That's not the person I am, you know.
Yeah.
And but I don't think that's much different than someone, you know, in the street or just coming out of nowhere trying to fight me, which has never happened, fortunately.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And again, it wouldn't if someone came up to me and they really wanted to fight me. Obviously, if they punched me or you know tried to attack me, I would use what was necessary to protect myself. But if you're just trying to instigate something, unless you've got good amount of money and you're willing to sign a waiver, I have no interest.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
yeah.
Next up is the name game. Tell me what comes to mind when you hear these names.
Oh, Jesus. You don't want to do this with me. Go ahead.
It probably should. It won't be that rough. BJ Penn.
It's fun.
BJ Penn.
Talented.
Dan Henderson.
Amazing.
Paul Taylor.
Who? Oh, Paul Taylor. Good guy. I like Paul.
Okay, and Joe Lozon.
Creepy ears.
And last but not least, the current lightweight champion, Frank Yeager.
Just a single word, or
No, go ahead.
I think Frankie's amazing. He's always been very, very nice, and he's very talented. And each and every fight, he seems to get better. I think I wouldn't say I'm a fan of a lot of fighters, but I respect Frankie immensely.
Okay, good stuff. So this weekend there is a big fight in Vegas. Mayhem Miller, Michael Bisping.
Yep.
Who would you pick and what finish?
Bisping by decision, hopefully knockout.
Okay. And fantasy matchup, you versus anyone in the world. Who'd you like to fight?
Gandhi.
Pardon me?
Gandhi.
Gandhi?
Mahatma Gandhi. Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff.
It'd be an easy fight, and everyone's going to know about it. I kicked Gandhi's ass. You know, I mean,
yeah.
That's and if a lot of people hate me already. If I beat up Gandhi, they'd be pretty pissed off.
Very true. Okay. Anything else you want to promote, such as your Twitter or sponsors?
Yeah. I follow me on Twitter, Gabe Ruediger. It's not hard. It's not Gabe Ruediger MMA or Gabe Ruediger UFC. It's just Gabe Ruediger. There's the Facebook fan site, which is Gabe Ruediger on Facebook. There's also my own site, which is GabeGodzilla.com. And let's see. 40 Thieves Clothing, which has been a sponsor of mine for many years, since my first fight in the UFC. And who else? I can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
Okay, that's awesome.
But I would like to say that I'm working with a great organization here that does a nonprofit called LAYN. They work with homeless youth to get them housing and education here in LA. It's a great organization, and I'm supporting them 100%. LAYN.org. Check them out. Support them if you can. They're doing good things for those that are less fortunate.
For sure. Well, thanks very much for the interview, Gabe, and hopefully we'll talk to you later on down the road.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, man.
All right. Yeah, no
okay,
problem.
bye.